We now speak to SABC News reporter Lerato Makola, who attended the briefing by the Minister and the MECs. Lerato, let's start there with what MEC Maile had said about Gauteng in particular. 17,617 applications they received, but only 4,610 were approved. That means 25%, by the way, which means 1 in 4 applications got approved, 3 in 4 did not get approved. What happens now? Do we know any detail about what happens now for the foreign-owned spaza shop owners who have not been approved? Because only 128 of the 4,610 have been approved. What happens to them after this?
Well, thank you so much for your time, Oliver, and the viewers at home. Well, MEC Lebogang Maile mentioned that from now on, the next step is for them to register their spaza shops. He mentioned that
so a second round of registration, yes, so to speak.
Yes, and then there's going to be a training now. The next step now is a training. They're going to train them, and he mentioned that, as you have mentioned, that over 17,000 applications have been received in Gauteng, and 7,000 of those were foreign nationals. He mentioned that 128 were approved, and he mentioned that there will be training the spaza shop owners so that they can understand the law and comply with the health regulations.
Right. Very specifically, he mentioned there that City of Johannesburg and the East Rand were some of the leading parts of the Gauteng province in these. Do we know how many applications each region had received and how many had been approved? He does tell us that the East Rand were leading specifically with applications from foreign nationals. It doesn't quite give us the number there. Is there a breakdown of that? Yes,
he did break down the number, and he mentioned that over 2,000 applications were received in the city of Ekurhuleni, which is the highest number of foreign nationals received in Ekurhuleni.
Right. Lerato, let's talk about Minister Ndabeni-Abrahams, because she mentioned, at least gave some update around that 500 million rand support fund that was announced by the president when he had initially made the proclamations of the registration process. Do we know if the money had been secured? We have a sense that it might be, and where the money is coming from.
Yes, indeed, Oliver. The minister mentioned that the money has been secured, and she mentioned that it's 500 million rand for the spaza support fund, and she mentioned that she wants this fund to link spaza shop owners and food outlet retailers so that they can work together and buy in bulk. She mentioned that this will assist the spaza shop owners with equipment, and she mentioned that with building infrastructure, just to make sure that they're able to run their business without being stressed with finances. And she also mentioned that she couldn't give us a national picture with regards to the numbers of how many applications they have received, because they're still waiting for the Nate Johns, and she said that they're still waiting for them to finalize everything. But she mentioned that spaza shop owners who have heeded to the call to register and went to the registration centers to collect the forms, they will not be penalized. She mentioned that she believes that it was the government's job to make sure that the registration process runs smooth for spaza shop owners.
Do we have a sense from any of the MECs or the minister about what the leading reasons were for those applications that were rejected?
Yes, they did mention, MEC Lebogang Maile mentioned that there were technical issues as well. And when we covered the story, the registration deadline in Jabulani, I engaged with some of the spaza shop owners, right, and they've mentioned that they couldn't register. They went there and they were told that they should bring documents, and they were not told about those documents. And there's this one spaza shop owner that I engaged with. She told me that her business, her family depends on her business. She has a family to feed. Her kids have to go to school, and she was worried. So today the government answered the questions that she was asking herself, because she said that she doesn't know the next step now. She was worried about her business. And MEC, they've mentioned that the ministers, they've mentioned that everyone who has heeded the call and started and went to the registration centers to start the registration process will continue with the registration process. Yes.
Well, the deadline was on Friday. Have all the applicants who applied received answers, or are there still applications that are pending in the system?
There are still applications that are pending, and a minister mentioned that the ones that are still pending, the spaza shop owners who are still waiting for the registration outcome, they can operate, and they will not be penalized. And she mentioned that only the ones who did not register and went to the registration centers, they don't stand a chance. She mentioned that only first-time applicants can start to register on Monday as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that, Lerato. Really do appreciate it. Always a pleasure having you, giving us these details. That is SABC News reporter Lerato Makola.